everyone! Do you know what does the rich do differently to become rich? Join me on this tour to know the reason. There were two boys, Robert and Mike. They wanted to be rich like other kids in their school, so they went to Robert's father as he was a PhD holder and worked for the government, whereas Mike's father was not even a graduate. Kids asked him how to be rich. He wondered and then said, I and Mike's father have the same banker, and he told me that Mike's father is very good with money and would soon be rich. So the kids went to Mike's father, who the author calls as Rich Dad, and asked, Will you teach us about money? Rich Dad said, Of course, but it won't be the traditional way. You will have to work for me on Saturdays for 3 hours at 10 cents per hour. Kids agreed. After 3 weeks, Robert got frustrated as he was only able to buy comic books with that amount and went to the Rich Dad and boasted his frustration. Rich Dad said, This is what most people do. They blame. They blame their boss, their job, they blame everything except themselves. They want the world to change but do not want to change themselves. They feel that the paycheck is the problem and do one of the two things. One, change their job, or stay in the job and pray for a pay raise. Either of the condition arises because they fear not having money. It's like the donkey running for the carrot. I'll teach you 6 lessons. Are you ready for it? Robert said yes. So the first lesson is, poor and middle class work for money, but rich don't work for money. So from now on, you will work for me as usual, but this time for free. Robert was shocked but agreed because he knew that he's learning something which other kids in the school aren't. Again, they kind of wondered, why are they working for free? Now they can't even afford those comic books. After 3 weeks, Rich Dad came to them and said, Getting paid more does not solve the issue. Most of the people get up, work, pay bills, repeat. The more they get paid, the more they start having bills and work more to get that bills paid. Hence, more pay does not make their lives easier. When you work for money, you close your mind for opportunities. Focus on opportunities and it will show you ways to earn money. Lesson 2. Pay yourself first. What normal people do is first spend and then keep the excess to themselves, which is usually nothing. Robert asked, Isn't it wrong to not pay the dues first? To which Rich Dad said, No. If I don't pay the dues and bills, the government pressurizes me to pay them. And in that pressure, I find different ways to pay them. But if I pay them first, then there is no pressure on me to pay myself. And I would tend to not pay myself as I don't have the money. I won't pressurize me to find ways to pay myself. Hence, always pay yourself first. Robert asked, What do I do with the money that I pay myself? This takes us to the third lesson, which is buy assets. Rich acquires assets, whereas poor and middle class acquires liability. Robert asked, What are assets and liabilities? Rich Dad said, Asset is something which puts money into your pocket, whereas liability is something which takes money out of your pocket. The cash flow statement of the poor is usually like this. Income comes in form of salary and directly goes into the expense column for food and shelter. They have 0 assets and 0 liability. Hence, their income is equal to their expense. The cash flow statement of middle class is like income comes in form of salary and goes into 2 columns, expense and liability, like debt on car, home, credit cards, etc., and have 0 assets. Hence, their income is equal to expense plus liability. Whereas, the cash flow of rich is like income goes to the expense column and then to the asset column for buying assets like stocks, bonds, royalty from product, income generating property, and so on, which in return generates more income in their income column. Hence, their income is always more than their expense. This is because rich buys luxury at last, whereas others buys them at first. Rich uses the income generated from asset to buy luxuries because when you buy luxury on debt, it is a burden. Remember, once a dollar goes into your asset column, never let it come out. Never dip in your assets to pay your dues. Lesson 4. Power of corporations. The biggest benefit that the rich has is the way he files his taxes. When an employee earns, he first pays taxes and then spends the remaining amount. Whereas corporations earns, first spends and then pay taxes on the remaining amount. For example, let's consider an employee earns $1,000 and the tax rate is 10%. So he pays 10% of $1,000, which is $100. and then spends the remaining amount left with him, which is $900. Now, let's consider a corporation making $1,000. It first spends $900 and then pays taxes on the remaining amount, that is 10% of $100, which is $10. This is possible because employees pay taxes on their income, whereas corporations pay taxes on their profits, which is income minus expenditure. Lesson 5. Rich invents money. A trained mind can create money, but an untrained mind can create poverty. For example, if you want to buy a real estate property, look for bankruptcy stores, where a bank auctions a property in case the owner goes bankrupt, and it auctions it for the amount that is due. Once the author got a property worth $70,000 from a bankrupt auction for just $20,000 and then sold it for $60,000, making a profit of $40,000. That's why the author says, profit is made during buying and not while selling. Always try ways to buy whatever you want lesser than the market value. In that way, you make profit as soon as you have bought it. Lesson 6. Never stop learning. The real wealth is information, and it travels faster than the speed of light. Once a lady walks to the author and says, "Your books are best-selling, but mine aren't." Author says, "Your books are great. There's a course on sales nearby. I think you should attend it." The lady gets angry and says, "I have done masters in literature. Why would I learn sales? Salespeople only want money." To which author says, "My books are best-selling books, not best-written books." The lady gets puzzled and walks away. Most of the people are only one step behind in achieving huge success. To summarize, Lesson 1. Rich don't work for money. Lesson 2. Pay yourself first. Lesson 3. Buy assets. Lesson 4. Power of corporations. File your taxes wisely. Lesson 5. Rich invents money. Lesson 6. Never stop learning. This was the summary of the book Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Tell us in the comment section which lessons among these 6 do you already implement in your life, and share it with your friends and family to spread the awareness about how to be rich. Subscribe to our channel Send Growth for more such content, and hit that bell icon to be notified as soon as we upload a new video. Remember, small changes each day can create huge impact at the end. Keep learning, keep growing. This is Chitra Deva signing out for the day. Meet you all next week with a new book summary.